feel lost.
Lost? What do you mean?
So when I was 15, I dropped out of school. I ended up getting a job, I think it was 16, as a surf instructor. So I worked as a surf instructor for a few years. And then I ended up moving to a different island when I was 17, completely alone. And that is when I started work as a waiter. I worked as a waiter, and then a bartender, and then in a nightclub, probably for like 2.5 years. And then after that, I went back to my home island and I got a job in a surf shop because I went through a load of anxiety and depression and everything. And I realized if I wanted to get confident again, I'd have to go and speak with people. So I went and I worked in a surf shop. And then when I was completely over 9 to 5s, I got a job as a real estate agent, and I was selling properties, which at least was a sales job. So the more I sold, the better I got, the more money I earned. Still wasn't a great job, but at least it was a step up from the 9 to 5. I realized that anybody that had any money had businesses. So I knew I had to start a business. I just had no idea of how to run a business or what to do. And then I ended up opening up a surf camp, it had something to do with real estate and to do with my passion that was surfing. So I mixed them both and I opened a surf camp. And I had like a 5-year contract with this house, surf house that I rented. And then I got closed down in the pandemic, and I ended up scrolling on Instagram and I saw an Airbnb millionaire from London that had actually sub-rented his properties and became a millionaire that way. So I decided to rent this villa out that I already had on Airbnb, and the first week that I had it rented out, I went surfing the whole week, and it made me just as, I think, the same amount of money as it would have as a surf house. And then I was like, I pretty much found gold. I was like, this is what I've been looking for my entire life. I can go surfing and something else is making money for me. And that is when I realized that I'd found gold, and that was what I wanted to do. So then for the next few years, I just basically repeated the system. So I'd save up money from the first Airbnb. I wouldn't spend any, I wouldn't go pop bottles, I wouldn't go on holiday. And I would take that money and invest it into the second Airbnb. Then after that, I got the third Airbnb and the fourth, and it took me a few years to be able to reach my cash flow targets. And then when I did reach it, I decided to actually live what I preach, which is that freedom is what I was after, and I wasn't after the money. So then I set out to travel, and I think I've been traveling for 3.5 years now. My business is back in Spain, mainly. We have some in Thailand and now some in Bali as well, but mainly in Spain. So 3 years I've been an Airbnb nomad, but I had to build the base first, and that's what most people don't want to do. They don't want to build the base, they don't want to sacrifice. They don't want to live in their garage like I did for a few years with no kitchen and nothing. So I lived in the basement of one of my Airbnbs to save on rent, because rent was one of the most expensive things in Spain at that time, and it still is. So I sacrificed, I reinvested everything, and now here we are, living the nomad dream. We're in Bali, we're in Thailand before, and in Dubai and whatever. But if I didn't sacrifice, I never would have made it here. All right, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna show you guys exactly how I did it and how you can do exactly the same. Follow me. All right, we're back at the villa here in Bali. We're in the home gym right now. And I'm gonna show you guys quickly how I got this done and how you can also do exactly the same. Basically what I would do if I was starting again from zero and I was either in a 9 to 5 and I was stuck in a 9 to 5, or I was just still dreaming of the freedom that you don't currently have. So like you don't have time freedom, you don't have location freedom, and you don't have any financial freedom. If that is what you guys are looking for, I'm gonna show you how to do it and how I would do it if I was starting again today. So let's dive into it, skip the fluff. So first you need either a job or a loan or some savings saved up already, okay? This is what I started with. I had a job, I had a sales job. I was currently earning like 3,000 a month, something like that. That was my real estate sales job. And then I got a loan from the bank for 10,000 euros, which allowed me to start with a big villa first, okay? And I always advise that if you can, start with a big villa first. Because what you don't want to do is start with a load of little apartments. You can start with a little apartment, but I want you to go into villas and bigger places. because at the end of the day, it's going to be way easier to manage, and you're going to have less problems. You're going to have one place that makes you more money, and the operations are way easier, and you're dealing with one person instead of 100 different apartments. It's just way easier on the operation side. So first, go get a job, save up some money. What are you going to need this money for? You're going to need this money to, one, learn the skill. So you can either learn the skill with us, or you can go and try and learn it by yourself on YouTube or whatever. But if you want to actually learn the skill, be mentored, and have exactly everything that I help people with, the whole blueprint, the contracts, the where to find deals, how to negotiate deals, and all of this, then you need to learn the skill. You need some money for that. Number two, your first rent-to-rent deal. This is where I would start, okay? You want to save up around 2 to 3 months of rent for whatever property that you're going to get. So if it's $2,000 a month, then you're going to need $4,000 to $6,000 a month saved up, because you don't even want to spend that. You just want to have that aside as an emergency fund. So, if there's another pandemic or there's whatever, then your business is kind of safe, and you have some sort of, you've not invested all of your money, and if something goes wrong, then you go bust. So you need 2 to 3 months of rent. You need to pay the deposit. Now this is actually negotiable on the property. I've dodged paying deposits on most of the properties that I have, okay, just because I get to know the homeowners, and you build trust with them. They see that you're investing money into the property and making it better. Therefore, you don't need to pay them a deposit, okay? And that allows you to spend more money on style and amenities. And these are things that are gonna create your actual Airbnb experience. They're gonna change it from a house or a home to an Airbnb experience, okay? So you've locked in your first rent to rent. Then you wanna cash flow that property. Cash flow until you have about 2 to 3 months, again, saved in rent so that you're covered. So whatever you've spent, just make sure you have a cushion behind you. That's important. I went through the whole pandemic, and I didn't really have enough cushion, and I survived because I was smart about it and I reacted quickly. But going forwards, you always need some cushion. Okay. So when you build that cushion, then you can go on to your next deal. So you really want the 3 months of rent for this one as well. So 2 to 3 months of rent. So your second rent to rent deal, you need money for a deposit. You can negotiate. You definitely need 2 to 3 months of rent, and you definitely need to add style and amenities, because this is what's going to separate you from having a normal basic Airbnb to having an Airbnb that people actually want to go and experience and stay at and spend more money in and pay extra for. That's what people are paying extra for, pretty much. Like this villa that we have here in Bali, we live here and this is at home. But if we decide tomorrow to move to Thailand or Dubai or wherever, we can rent this out and it will rent like crazy, because we have a full gym up here. We have an ice bath, we have a sauna, we have a jacuzzi, we have a PlayStation, we have a HQ office with LED lights, with, everything set up. We have a super big swimming pool, 3 bedrooms, blah, blah, blah. We've got everything set up so that it's not only a home, it's also in one day can be a rental. Why? Because we built all the amenities and we put the style that it has on it. So that's what you want to do. Then you're going to repeat this process until you reach your desired cash flow. Okay. Now my desired cash flow was 30K a month. So when I had 30K a month, I knew that I no longer wanted to just carry on building the business. I wanted to go and actually live the freedom that I created. And this is where most of the people that start in business fail, because they get into this and then they just keep going. And then once they get the money, they just want more money and money and money. But then before you know it, you're like 35 years old and you haven't even experienced any freedom. You haven't been traveling, you haven't become a nomad, you haven't just done whatever you want to do with your time. You haven't done anything you want to do in your life. You haven't gone on all the surf trips and whatever. So this, if your goal is actually freedom, this is the goal. Know your desired cash flow and stop then. Automate everything here. Okay? That is how I got to where I am today. So a few things I'm going to go over. The job loan and savings to start this. If you don't have these, then there is another method called the management system. can't see that very well, but it says 25%. So you can actually go and manage, we teach this also in the mentorship, you can go and manage other people's properties and roughly you'll get a 25% and you do all the work of the management, but you don't have to spend any money on anything. The homeowner pays for everything. You are literally the person managing it with the skills that we teach. So you're going to increase their revenue, increase their occupancy. You're going to explain to them why you do what you do, the improvements you want to do on the property, and you're going to get them to spend on the property to make it better so that you both make more money. So the homeowner will get 75%. Okay, I also do this method, but I only do this method with big properties. Okay, don't go doing this method with shitty little apartments, 1-bedroom apartments, because it's just going to be a waste of time. Do it with a villa that's going to make at least around about 10,000 a month, because then 25% is going to be 2,500. So you've already replaced your job with one management deal. All right, so that's the power of this. And once you get a few of these, then you can get your own rent-to-rent deals. So this can be phase 1, or this is phase 1, and then phase 2 is your rent-to-rent deals, and you want to build your portfolio of rent-to-rent deals. Then after that, stage 3 is buying your own. Now, I brought my own using a method which is called rent-to-buy. So it's basically the same as this, but you negotiate 2 to 5 year contracts normally. You could, depends where you're in the world and what the market's like. Some places you could even do like 10-year contracts and some crazy stuff. But whatever you pay in rent monthly goes towards the price of that property. So if I'm looking at buying $1 million property, this is what I did with my first deal. So you pay, let's say, $2,500 a month for 5 years. I'm not going to do the maths now, but whatever that comes out to, you've already paid that on the $1 million property. This is the same strategy, but different contract, basically. And the money, the saved money goes towards buying, not into more rent-to-rents. So the good and the bad about this is that everything that you're making, everything that you spend on rent and everything that you're producing in cash flow, you're saving it towards the purchase of this house. That's the difference. Whereas when you're doing rent to rent, everything that you're making, the cash flow, you're putting into your next deal. And then into next deal, into next deal. And it's a snowball effect. Whereas this one, you're saving to buy this one property, which in the long run is going to make you more money because you're going to own it. It's going to increase in value. You're going to have equity in the villa. And you're also going to make the cash flow on the way. So that is the third strategy, and this is where you start to become an owner. That is what I did, and that is what I would do if I was going to start again today. So for you guys that are here, you know what you need to do now. If you want to join the academy, then you can either DM me. Currently it's not open. We may be opening in another month to a month and a half. Depends when this video comes out. And that's about it. This is the most simply put way of how an Airbnb business works and how you can actually get the 3 Fs, which is the 3 types of freedom, which is location, financial, and time. We should probably make something of that. LFT, TFL, FTO. Anyway, the 3 sorts of location. It's the, what we call it, the triple F, triple freedom. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, that's the way. I'm going to leave you guys with that. Peace and love. Hope you have a great day.